The possibility of the U.S. Supreme Court scrapping federal abortion rights protections is bringing to light the lack of resources and support for people raising children. Data offered in an amicus brief filed on behalf of the Jackson Women's Health Organization in Mississippi shows that 14 of the states with the most restrictive abortion laws invest the least in policies and programs to assist women, children, and families. Let's bring in Caitlin Huey-Burns to talk more about who will be impacted the most by the court's potential decision. Caitlin, we were just talking about this, Anne-Marie and I, not only about the lack of economic resources for pregnant people in states where abortion access could be restricted, but the measures that prior to the passage of Roe v. Wade that some women went to abort their fetuses because they had no access to legitimate means of doing so. What did you learn?
Hey there, Vlad. Well, I learned a lot in reporting this out. And the question I had was going into this was in these states that have laws on the books that would likely go into effect if Roe versus Wade was overturned, what are they offering women, pregnant women, mothers, in terms of economic resources, in terms of support that they need to actually have the child and care for the child afterwards? And talking to public health experts and reading through this amicus brief, there's some really important findings. This brief showed that among the states with the strictest abortion rates or abortion laws in their states, they actually do the least, have the least investments for maternal health care and postpartum care. I talked to one public health expert who, pointed to things like not only things like prenatal care, but also Medicaid access, also low birth weights. Mississippi, for example, which is at the heart of this Supreme Court decision, has ranks the lowest of all of the states when it comes to low birth weight and when it comes to child poverty. So the point of this is that if you are restricting access to abortion, you also have to look at what are the economic and support systems in place to help women actually have children. I also found that none of the states that have restrictive abortion laws on the books offer paid maternity leave. That's really important. And only 8 of the states, of these most restrictive states, 8 of the states did not accept Medicaid expansion under the health care law, which, as we know, helps low-income people have access to maternity care and postpartum care. And when you look at the data, especially from the Guttmacher Institute, a vast majority of those who have abortions are of a lower economic class. And we know that this is going to disproportionately affect women of color, women of low income who won't be able to travel to other states to have abortion access. So this is something that's really important to consider. What resources are in place for women to not only have children and take care of them during pregnancy, but also afterwards and have a support system. The U.S. ranks among the lowest of developed wealthy nations when it comes to paying for child care. We are one of the few countries in the world that does not provide paid maternity leave. And I can say, as you both know, I had a baby 8 months ago. I'm a new mom. I have seen these policies firsthand, trying to navigate the healthcare system. I was very lucky, of course, to have paid leave to be able to not only care for my child, but also to care for myself. Mental health is a huge component of this and a huge issue for women postpartum. So as we're looking at these laws, it's really important to look at what we ask of women in this country versus what we provide them in terms of support.
Listen, you paint quite a thorough picture, and I think that this is the part of the conversation that we're really not having. Mm-hmm. What happens if this brief is indeed the final say? What happens next, right? So to that point, what can Congress do? Is Congress proposing any aid or support?
Yeah, Anne-Marie, that's a great question. And I spent a lot of time on Capitol Hill this week asking lawmakers, what should be the federal response? And most Republicans told me that this should be a state-by-state issue, which, again, raises the question, well, the states are not providing this so far, so the pressure should be on there. Josh Hawley, a very conservative Republican, did tell me that there needs to be a robust conversation around this, and he has proposed a tax credit for a child tax credit. Remember, the tax credit for children that was passed during the pandemic, that expired in December, and that actually led to higher poverty rates among children. And the administration's attempt to get the Build Back Better plan passed that has a lot of this stuff in it hasn't been able to pass, hasn't even gotten enough Democratic support. But other Republicans have told me this should be a state-by-state level. Democrats have told me that this is why they've been pushing for years and years for a federal maternity leave policy, a paid policy, because otherwise you're really going to have a patchwork of programs. And one Democratic senator told me that, if this does go into effect, if you live in a state that has no abortion access and also no, paid leave or no resources to really help you care for your child, and then other states do have abortion access and do have some of those resources available, then you have a pretty unfair system in the country. So it really just depends on where you live. Depends on what access you get. And so this is a conversation that I think is really important to highlight in terms of policy and the federal response as we're moving forward. Democrats know that they can't have the votes to codify Roe v. Wade into law, but experts that I talked to said that there are measures that they could do right now to really beef up some of these programs in some of these states and across the country to help women, programs that exist already to help women in this time and afterwards. It's a really important public health policy decision.
Yeah, it really is, Caitlin. And, we know now that all of this support is also connected to health outcomes for children and women, yes. Education outcomes for children and women. There's a trickle-down effect with sort of the change of, with one decision, it has a widespread, wide-reaching effect. Caitlin, thank you so much.
Thank you.
So you can read more of Caitlin's reporting on the impact of the court's possible decision right now. Just head on over to CBSNews.com.